Good evening to everybody. Great to see you all again. I'm not going to introduce myself because everybody basically knows me. I'm Marie. This is hosted this evening by Arts on the Credit. And we're a nonprofit. I'll just run through that quickly. And we provide opportunities for the artists to show and sell their work. Usually we have 2 shows inside annually at the Waterside Inn, but that's not working out this past year or so. So here we are, and thank goodness we have this way of communicating and seeing one another and sharing our work and staying safe so far anyway. And now should be, like, I know it's just beginning that we're all going to get vaccinated and be safer even still. So April's here upon us already. Hard to believe winter's come and gone, basically. Wow. And so this month it's a little different because the gallery walls are being shared by 2 artists, by Lisa Compton and Barbara Pickett. And they both, well, they met at Arts of the Credit and became friends through that association. And they decided they would share, even though they use different techniques. They both enjoy painting and sharing that aspect of it, but they are influenced, they are inspired by different subject matters. So the 2 are quite different, and you'll see that as we go through, but they planned it out pretty carefully in the way they wanted to have things arranged and so on. And they arranged it like a journey so that we see things locally, just around the corner, and we travel a little further and a little further until we're quite a ways away from home. So we're going to go through the tour of the gallery show, and Barb and Lisa will talk about their parts of the tour and a little background. If you have questions or so on, you can either write them out in the chat, or I can leave the meeting open a little longer at the end after we officially close it. And we can have a Q&A time then if you like. So, okay. Let's just get rid of some of this stuff. Get rid of that. All right, here we are today. By the way, just in case you didn't know, the gallery is on the website. The website hosts the gallery, and it changes every month. We've had jewelry, we've had solo shows, we've had a group show, and now a shared show. I hope you enjoy it. Lisa and Barb met at Arts of the Credit, as I said, became good friends. And they are going to, they called it things, some of their favorite things. So they're going to share that in their paintings. We go enter the gallery. This is just in case you haven't seen it before. For new guests, this is directions on how to move about on the gallery. Oh, gives you a menu. And if you forget how to move around there, that'll tell you. You can go there. And there are shadow people in this gallery. I don't know why, but I always get rid of them. like ghosts walking through the gallery. So let's go. This is where we're going to start. We're going straight ahead. And this is one of Barb's watercolors, but before we start talking about that in particular, I just wanted to show you how it works. Every paint, how's the clarity, everybody?
Good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah.
So you can read the text.
Yes.
Okay. So this is drop down, gives you all the information you want to know about the painting, the name, gives you the size, gives you a little background, maybe if there is a story behind it, gives you a price. And inquire, if you click on inquire, you can send a note quickly and directly to the artist about the picture. You might just put in your email, you might have a question for them. You might just want to talk to them about a commission that might be similar, but not that particular one. Click on send, and that gets a note right to the artist. This invite is also really interesting. It just brings up all the social media icons. And if you, for instance, if you go to the Facebook icon, because I'm doing it, it goes right to my Facebook page. And you can make a comment about the show and set it, post it on your website page, which would be great for us because it's a little bit of promotion for the gallery. But anyway, you can do that. You could share it with any of the social media platforms. Don't want that one tonight. Okay. And we move back up to the top. We'll close this. And where it says media, if you click on that, it'll take you directly to the website for the artist. And there you can see what else they have posted, what else they've done. Because in particularly in Barb's case, she has other things on here. She has her work printed on pillows and kimonos. So you may want to take a look at that as well. Yeah. Okay, we're starting close to home. You may recognize it if you live in the area. So Barb, you may want to talk about this one for starters.
All right, sounds great. So good evening, everyone. I know that this winter in particular, we spent a lot of time walking the nearby streets and parks and certainly the waterfront trail. This particular painting is from a picture I took at the base of Maple and Pine Street, where we hit Ben McCree Park. And right at that area, Lake Ontario just bashes against the rocks and the trees and the grasses and so forth. And just a couple of times a year when the temperature is just so, that water crashing freezes and attaches itself to the limbs and to the rocks and so forth. It gets very slippery if you're walking there, and it just glistens in the sunshine. So I took a photo of one of these earlier in the year and then actually painted it. And so in the forefront, we have that icy look that you get from the frozen waters of Lake Ontario. And as you look further in the background, you'll see the Ridgetown old freighter that's in the Port Credit Harbor and the Toronto skyline in the background. Yeah. So I call this one Icy Blue, and it's meant to capture that frigid cold that we get in those February months or January months. Here along the waterfront trail.
Familiar sight for sure.
Yeah, so now as I'm not a big winter person, so the majority of what I've created here are of the other seasons of the year. And this in particular, that I call the Port Credit Harbor, is my compilation of a few things with a little artistic license here to get it all in. But with our iconic lighthouse and Snug Harbor, where many of us have enjoyed the odd dinner and the benches and so forth. I know it was on one of those benches that I had my first date with my husband. So it's a first that matters to me. And I think there's probably a lot of firsts of others who enjoy this view. This particular point now is being renamed Queen Bee Lookout after our former BIA president. And so it has even more special meaning. So this Port Credit Harbor is that inspiration. And then as we move on to this one, it's again our iconic lighthouse, but from a whole different angle, taking in one of our beautiful sunsets that we're quite accustomed to these days with the pinks and the yellows and so forth. And this particular perspective takes advantage of one of our many floral bikes that are sprinkled around the town. And so I wanted to capture kind of two icons in one at our sunset. And I call this one Sunset in the Port. As we go a little further along the Lakeshore Trail, I kind of diverted to Main Street, and I thought I would do a painting of a streetscape. So you'll recall this, one of the, one little angle of our dear Main Street, which normally is bustling with people, and certainly during COVID has been far scarcer. I think we've all got a little more appreciation about shopping local and trying to support these small businesses. And I know even in this painting, 3 out of the 4 have survived thus far, and one unfortunately has had to close their doors.
And you have some work in this particular shop in Impressionable Gifts, right?
I do. So Lydia is a shop owner who's been in Port Credit. This is her 23rd year in business. And she and I met and have a great relationship going on. I have little cards and cushions and small paintings that I make for her for the shop. And she, requests different items that her clientele want to have. So it's been a great little relationship for the two of us. And I certainly know that if I'm looking for a gift for someone and it's just something a little unique, I'll pop into her before I'll go to one of the bigger box stores to do that. Yeah. So this one I just call a walk down Main Street. And then we get to Two Scoops, please. One of my favorite stores on Main Street. Scoops. So this particular store has been around for a long time, and I did the painting with some siblings enjoying a little ice cream. But certainly you see lots of families who go, be it for a special occasion, the last day of school or what have you, or just popping in to get your treat as you decide to go walking along the waterfront and enjoy the scenery and the treats. So I call that my Port Credit collection, just a handful of architecture and scenes that really matter to me and make me smile. And it's one perspective, but my friend Lisa here has another perspective of beautiful Port Credit.
Beautiful. Yes, Lisa's fairly well known in the area for her swans, and there are lots of them in the river in Port Credit.
Yep.
What would you like to say? Because you told some stories about them to me.
Yeah, I did. So I kind of just overall with the swans, the reason, and I do them all in oil. The reason I love swans is because to me they represent strength and beauty, and they seem magical and sort of ethereal. So I try to capture that feeling in the paintings, and to do that, I like to get different poses, like not just the regular poses of a swan swimming on the water. I want to do something different, and I often want to do it up close, so you can see the details of the feathers. And one of the reasons I love painting as well is because I'm using a more relaxed style. I want some realism, but I don't want super detailed. And I'd like to assign sort of a human-like quality to them, because I'm thinking of a little story as I'm painting them and what they may be thinking or what they may be doing. And in this case, I think this little girl is getting ready for a date. And the other two before, they were courting each other, and that was pretty obvious because the male was just a wee bit testy if he got too close to his girl. So yeah, that one.
Do you paint with photography, like having taken the pictures, or?
Yes, I like to paint in my studio, and I get the photographs, and I'll take a lot of photographs of the same subject.
Right.
Because sometimes the lighting is a little bit different, or sometimes I can see better, like just, and sometimes I'll take photographs, and if the head on one is better than the body or than the head on the other, but I like the body, I'll go into Photoshop and I'll just kind of marry the two together. And
Okay.
each piece. Yeah, and then of course, a lot of them, I was reading today that some of that orange color on some of them is from the iron in their food supply. It can create that orange look.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just reading that today, but also some of the ones I've done are younger swans as well.
Right.
And they don't have their full plumage until, I don't want to be wrong on this, but I know it's about a year and a half, maybe,
Okay.
before they get the full white.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see some of them with the darker color on them. And I love those ones. I just love those. So,
Like that. Are you like that one?
yeah, this one, yeah, it had a little bit of the, and also some of that, it was catching light. And I also just kind of take a little bit of artistic license, and I just, if I like it,
Yeah.
it's on there. I just like it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and the sunlight and everything catches them sometimes too, so it kind of reflects a wee bit on the feathers.
Right.
And I call flirting, because she definitely looks like she's just putting her little wing up there and saying, "Yeah, come and get me."
Love it.
Yeah. We're going to travel just a little bit further, but not too far. Bart?
And we're off to the Distillery District. We can't hop on an airplane quite yet to get to cobblestone streets, but you can if you go down to the city. So
Yeah.
I wanted to capture one of my favorite scenes down there. I call this one a walk in the distillery. And what I love about the Distillery District is the Victorian buildings and the cobblestones, and they have lots of greenery and so forth. I tried to capture in this particular piece the clock, which I love, that's down there, and then the beam, and having the perspective on it so that you can get the different sense of the size of the buildings and what have you. And it's very quiet. There's no one there. And so I want to take the viewer into this and maybe picture themselves playing that piano or walking hand in hand with, their sweetheart through the quiet. And as we know, as we get through this period and the COVID gets behind us, it'll get busy and buzzing and so forth, and it'll have a different charm with it. But
Yeah,
I wanted to have
crazy usually, in normal times. It could get crazy busy weekends, and they do have various events there too. They have an outdoor art show, I believe twice a year usually, and I mean it's just full. Every alley is full of vendors.
Well, there's beautiful shops. There's numerous artists that are actually set up in various art galleries and art workshops within it there. And there's lovely little shops and restaurants and so forth. So it's just got a real European Victorian feel, even though it's here in the city. So I quite like that little escape without having to go too far. So I painted this one, which is kind of the main, and then I painted another one that I called the Spirit of York, which is just highlighting one of the many retailers that are there. So this particular one caught my attention because I love the casks. So, that right away grabbed my attention. And this particular one, it's a beautiful little distillery that's just inviting the passerby up into the stairway and into seeing the vats where they're making it. And you can sample and get your little goodies for your local bar and so forth. So I wanted to pay tribute to some of these lovely stores that we can't wait to go and visit. And I thought this might make a nice painting to go on in someone's bar as a little, reminder of where it may have come from. So
you'll have to take it to them or show it to them.
Yes, I may just have to do that.
Yeah, send an image down. You never know, right?
Wow, no, that's a very good point. Absolutely. So then going from Toronto, some of us also have ventured a little further from home, up north to beautiful Muskoka. Having grown up in Northern Ontario, I'm used to the rocks and the trees and so forth. But in Muskoka, it's closer to home. The air is fresh and free, and it's wonderful. And this particular painting is a culmination of 2 or 3 pictures that I've kind of put together with rocks from one and trees from the other, and the colored autumn leaves from a third picture, and I put it together as though I'm on my kayak making my way down the Muskoka River and just taking in Mother's Nature's beauty, and getting that opportunity to run away a little bit from the city and just catch your breath. So I hope that when you see a painting like this, that's what it inspires, and maybe keeps you motivated through that work week to get you away to that beautiful countryside on a weekend.
Yeah, good memories. I'm sure most of us have good memories of the North and Muskoka and Haliburton and those areas in the summer. Yeah,
absolutely. And they're beautiful, and the scenes are beautiful, and so are the critters, like Lisa's favorite critters.
Good segue, Barbara.
There you go.
You have to tell us about this media and this process, because I don't think too many people are familiar with it.
Yeah, it's called scratchboard, and what it is it's a hard substrate backing, and it's sprayed, or it's covered with white clay and then sprayed with black India ink, and it's a subtractive medium, because rather than putting paint or whatever on the board, you're taking it off. And I use a sharp X-Acto knife is my primary tool. It's a very, very sharp point, and I change the blades often because the point has to it has to be super sharp in order to get this fine detail. And there are other tools I use too. I'll even use sandpaper, and a fiberglass brush is one of my favorites, and tattoo needles. And it just, each one of those tools will give a different texture, and it's just all about how it takes the ink off the white clay. And scratchboard pieces I love them because there's nothing like it, in my opinion, for detail work.
Right. Yeah, sure. Detail.
And it's it's extremely time consuming, which is why the cost of scratchboard is much higher than a painting. But I really like it, and I love the drama. I love the way you can get the lights and the darks and the values, and it's
beautiful.
It's really interesting. Yeah,
it's amazing. So does the board come prepared for you to start scratching away at it?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
You can buy it as clayboard, and you can put your own ink on that, because with scratchboard, you also have the option of, when it's done like this, if you decide that you want to put color into it, that dictates how much ink is taken off the board. And if you decide from the beginning that you want to add color, then you have to keep that in mind, and you would take more off than you would if you're just keeping it as black and white, because you're adding ink. And then when you add ink, you would scratch that off as well. And when regardless of whether you're scratching off color or you're scratching off just the black ink, it's done in layers. You don't take it all off at once. It has to be done basically building up like you would a painting.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And you can also buy, like I said, the white clay board, and you can spray your own inks on, which I plan to do in future as well. I've got an airbrush.
Yes.
And do it that way as well. So you can have a colored version of scratchboard. It's a fascinating medium, and it's been around for a long, long time.
Not many people do it, do they? Because
there's a society called the International Scratchboard Society, and there are a number of members, and their work is stunning. Yeah, but yeah, it's not a commonly known medium yet. It's funny because there are several people around the world who do it, but no, it's not a commonly known medium. But that group in particular is working to get it more recognized.
Right. Yeah, I only have seen yours and Brenda Brown. Brenda Brown had a couple of pieces I saw,
Yeah,
and that's it. I haven't seen others.
yeah.
I mean, it's so much work.
It is.
Yeah.
You have
So,
They're beautiful. They really are pretty.
well, it's
That's
almost
why I
like a,
do painting.
what did you say?
That's why I do paintings as well, because I can't, my shoulders can't take it for too
Yeah, yeah. There's that about it too. Well,
Yeah.
those are sweet. Yeah,
Yeah. Cute.
yeah.
And these are
So
red
those
squirrels.
are squirrels. Have you done other critters?
Oh yeah, I've done lemurs and cats and
Oh, okay.
birds and oh yeah, all kinds of stuff. There's
Are
some
they on your website?
yeah, there's quite a few pieces on my website.
Okay, let's just take a real quick peek, but this is Lisa's website.
Hopefully it works. I got it fixed.
Yeah, yeah, it worked. It worked.
Ah, there it
okay.
is.
Look at that. Oh my
Yeah, the
God.
yeah,
So you
that's-
have color in this one.
I did. And
Oh.
again, because I knew I was going to add color, I took more of the black ink off.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. That's
And if you
beautiful.
go to a gallery and you hit scratchboard,
Yeah.
that's where there are more pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scratch board. I have to remember to put that in with your pictures.
Mhm.
Now we're really traveling. Here we go.
Yes,
Oh,
it's time to jump on that airplane.
oh, you better believe it.
I'm dreaming. Back in January 2020, once we were on an airplane, my husband and I actually did a trip and we were in Cartagena, Colombia. It's a
Wow.
beautiful old city, and the city center has it's the walled city with the old buildings, and you've got, you know, strolling singers and the guys with the hat shops and so forth, which was lovely. But when we walked out, we happened upon the art district, which blew my mind. So you start walking down these alleyways and there's murals on the walls, and we turned a corner and we hit this street, which had these beautiful umbrellas and the flags, and
Wow.
they went from building to building, and they were just so colorful and magical. I mean, I couldn't wait to find the Canadian flag for sure, right?
Right.
But it was just, it's absolutely beautiful, but it's practical as well, because these umbrellas and even the flags to some degree provide a little bit of shade during the really hot days. So as you're walking around and, you know, poking in the shops or whatever, you get a little respite from the hot sun. So this particular painting I call Arm in Arm, and it's, you know, a couple that's enjoying this beautiful scenery and making their way into the little restaurant to get a cool drink and to sit in one of the doorways and look out at this beautiful scene. So for me, it inspires me for, oh, one day we'll get to go and see these kind of beautiful places and take in this kind of sight and sound and color and appreciate a different culture, in this case, South America.
Right. Oh, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And then, I mean, my favorite places of all places, hopping on that airplane to go over the pond to Europe. And this particular painting is actually from the French Riviera. So I had an opportunity years ago to go with a group of painters to Cannes, and we stayed for a week, and we would do little day trips to different communities and set up and do some plein air painting. And then I would take lots of pictures that I could then use later to come back and paint. And this is an example of one. So this was from a little town called Arabeau, that very, very small town. And it had a bunch of these beautiful buildings, and I just couldn't get over the colors. You know, the bougainvillea was in full bloom, and the colors and the violets and so forth. So I took this picture and I painted it. And while I had been taking the photos, I had seen a gentleman coming to this house. So it reminded me of that. So I inserted the gentleman caller with his roses to come and see his sweetie in the Riviera. Because as far as I'm concerned, we ladies always want flowers. And this is a reminder of, wouldn't it be nice if our guy brought us flowers all the time?
Wouldn't it?
And Sean, if it's you, wouldn't it be nice if you brought Deb flowers? Because you know it would put a smile on her face too. So this one I call Gentleman and Caller. And it's just a reminder of some of the beauty that exists over in Europe and so forth. And so when we were talking about our favorite things, Lisa and I talked about close to home, a little further from home, and far away. And in all cases, there's beautiful sights and scenes and animals that make us happy. And we wanted to share those favorite things with you. With a glass of wine, of course.
Yes, there it is. I've been drinking it all along.
Perfect, Lisa, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, let's turn back on our video so we can all see one another. That was great, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sort of a little escape for a bit.
Yeah.
From reality.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. And I
Yeah.
want to just thank some of our great supporters we've had this year. So, you know, a rough year when you couldn't do anything or get any money coming in. I want to thank Modern Mississauga Media and Peel Weekly News. They always print for us whatever we send them usually. Mississauga Arts Council, and then we were able to receive some grants. We received a grant from Hazel McCallion Foundation for Arts, Culture and Heritage, from the Trillium Foundation, and our last but not least is our local councillor, Stephen Dasco, who's always there to help us out and financially and otherwise. So big thank you there. And thanks everybody who came out tonight. It was lovely.
Yes. Thank you. Toast to all of you.
Thank you.
Toast to you and toast to Lisa. That was
Everybody.
And
lovely.
thank you for your help, everyone.